Radhe Radhe. It's 9 o'clock already. I've been running late today. All right, so it's 9 o'clock. Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Let's get started today. Welcome to another edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. And today we will be picking up a topic on knowledge because this shloka talks about knowledge. So we will try to see why knowledge is important and how empowering it could be. And we will traverse a little bit of history of how knowledge has been evolving, that humankind has been exposed to. So let's get started. So good morning, good evening, all of you. Let me share my screen and we will get underway. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Nitin.
Okay, great. All right. So we'll start with our opening prayers like we always do. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. All right, so Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening to all of you once again. So let's get started. Today we are going to pick up a newer shloka, like I said, and we will have a good discussion around the concept of knowledge today. So let's get started. We'll start with our soul soup segment. And because it's a topic of knowledge, I've picked something related to it as well in our soul soup segment as well. So let's get underway. So the question that what's going on? What we start off today is, you are in life where you intend to be. Is that a correct statement? How many of you agree or disagree? Agree. Let's hear from it. Is it true? Anybody wants to take this? You are in life where you intend to be.
Go ahead, Shyamji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Listen, bhai, we are where we are because how much we try to be where we want to go, we can't be there because we have our own plans. God has his own plans. So we always where we ought to be, no matter how hard we try.
Okay, where we ought to be. I think you're becoming philosophical. I'm going to start with a material definition of this whole concept. But yes, that's right. A lot of it is beyond our control as well. But then let's say we have good intentions around something. We really want to, we have a very good intent, we have a very good plan. Then are we going to reach where we need to be with intentions? Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to add something? And maybe two hands will take, three hands, and then we'll get this discussion going. Yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think this is true in the sense that unless we set goals, we can never, start working towards them and achieve them. So from that perspective, unless we have the intention to be at some place,
Mhm.
we cannot start to reach at that place. Yeah.
That's fair enough. That's good. We'll add on to that. Pratyusha, you wanted to add something?
Go ahead, Pratyusha ji.
Hello, Radhe Radhe everyone. So, my opinion is we can only live in the present. So physically we can live in the present, and we cannot go. Mentally, we can go in the future and on high. Sorry for the disturbance.
No worries.
But,
I think that's always
oh,
the power of now,
yeah,
right? So yes, we
yes,
can.
yes.
Yeah, that
Yes,
is very
we,
true.
Yeah, and mentally we can, plan for things, but we'll always be in the present moment and we can do everything being here only.
True.
So that's my.
And you can't get too far ahead of you, right? And if you want to realize it immediately, go play tennis or pickleball. Okay, when you start thinking too far ahead, you start falling behind. That's how it goes. You need to focus on the task at hand. Yes, Rahul, quick, and then we'll get the discussion going. Move forward with the content. Rahul, you wanted to add something?
Yes, Radhe Radhe. I just wanted to say intentions are important, but we still have to work our way through it to achieve that goal or whatever we are looking.
Very true. That's the key thing. Intentions are good. It's a good start, but that.
Quick comment.
Yes.
We are where we deserve to be. Vani Tejasvi ji has written that.
We are where we deserve to be. That is also correct. That's a philosophy. But yeah, so let's move on. I wanted to basically bring on a point here that there is a saying that, the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions. So that means there is something, a road to hell is paved with good intentions. There's something more that is needed as well. You may have the best intentions, but then if you don't have the right, of course, you have to implement it as well, right? But then implementation also, if it is not backed with what, that is the important thing that we're going to talk about. If it is not backed with right knowledge, knowledge is the thing which bridges the gap between good intention and achieving success. So, in order for you to become a good test cricketer, you need to have a lot of knowledge about cricket. You cannot become a good test cricketer if you don't have a knowledge about cricket. If you simply go mindless repetition of what you are doing without understanding the nuances of something, you will not be able to proceed. Same thing happens in the material world as well. Yeah, if you have to become a good soccer player, if you have to, no matter which profession you want to excel in, you need to have good knowledge about it. So knowledge is a secret ingredient. Not secret, I mean, it's a well-known fact, but you really need to have knowledge about something really well. Swami was telling me an example that there was a guy who came as a satsangi to Maharajji's ashram in India, and he used to play Ranji cricket. And then, he used to play a lot of cricket. So Swamiji told him he's a very good cricketer, Maharajji, and he wants to play for India. So then Maharajji said, no, for that you need a lot of knowledge. So he said, I was wondering, why did he say that? The point here is, in order for you to excel or go beyond the point, you need knowledge. You need really solid knowledge, a very solid foundation. And that is what we're going to talk about today. Yes, Keshavji, you wanted to add something?
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, Radhe.
It is like my understanding is good intentions or bad intentions. Whatever we intend, we are there. Immaterial. We want to, our intentions are intentions are to go to hell. Unknowingly, we will go to hell if bad intentions. If sattvic intentions will go to heaven. This is what we all are in this world, even on today at this moment of time. Jai Shri Krishna, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Jai Shri Krishna, yes. So here what we're basically, the topic of knowledge we're going to talk about, and I'm going to set the, just tilling the ground on that, why knowledge is so important. Of course, we need to have intentions, we need to have good goals, but mere having goals does not help. You need to have a good knowledge to back it up as well. A quick story, I've spoken about it in the past, but I'll give you. So there is a company called Alphatel. It is one of the companies, in one of the underdeveloped countries, it was there. And they decided to set up a factory for manufacturing mobile phones. So their executives, they contacted Deutsche Telekom, German company. So for the purchase of technologies, and they offered to do a turnkey project. Turnkey project is to come in and set it up, right? And they said, we'll set up the entire plant, and the customer is only required to start running it. They do all the setup itself. So that's called a turnkey. You simply turn on the key and you are on, basically. And then they gave the warranty that it'll work for 1 year. And after the 1 year, for 1 year, they had a warranty for 1 year. It continued to work well, function well. But the moment it entered the 13th month, I don't know why it happens, right? All the things that we get warranty for immediately after the warranty, including, mostly the cars, it starts malfunctioning. I don't know if there's a coding around it or what happens. Same thing happened to this as well. So the machine in the production, it came to a grinding halt. Now what to do? They reached out to Deutsche Telekom for the service support, and they were told the service engineer would fly down from Germany for that. And it will be built once they're out of, it will be built because they were out of warranty. So engineer came, service visit, he looked around, tapped the machines, did tuck tuck, all that stuff he did, and listens to the vibrations. Finally, he found a screw which was loose. He tightened it, and boom, it started working. And then what does Deutsche Telekom charge to them? 100,000 marks, Deutsche Mark, right? The German currency, which is 100,000. So they said, what? 1,000 Deutsche Marks for tightening a screw? Just a small screw, they said. And their executives were flabbergasted. They said, what kind of a, support it is? He said $100,000 is not for tightening the screw, right? It is for knowing which screw to be tightened. Okay, Guru does the same. Okay, it's not for they know which screw has to be tightened, and that is where that piece of knowledge, the post graduation in engineering that guy had done, or all the experience that he had gained, that specialization in the mobile technology, that is what they charged for, all the 15 years of experience that he had. So it might be a small screw, but if you don't know what to fix, what will happen? So that is where knowledge comes. And that is the biggest crap. You may have all the information, you may have all the theory, but if you don't know how to fix it or apply it, then it's pointless. So knowledge is supremely important. And today we are going to continue on this topic only. So let's get to the shloka to set the context. Yeah, so I'll quickly do that. This is an important thing. So now knowledge is happening to us all the times. Something as important as knowledge, which can define the trajectory of our life, material life and spiritual life, it is happening to us all the times. We have Gyanindriyas, we are gaining knowledge through eyes, through ears, and so many things. And can we leave something which is so important for our life merely happening to us? Let's look at it. What are the different ways knowledge can happen to us, or knowledge can come to us, because it's happening all the times. It could be formal, like we are doing right now, or it could be informal, which is happening all the times. How is it happening informally? Through our own experience and our own senses, right? If you are cheated by a house broker, you will always have some kind of an experience and stereotype them, or your own senses might tell you that this thing is good or this thing is bad based on the kind of experience you've had. So which is limited and imperfect, right? Because your experience cannot generalize somebody or stereotype somebody. It's like that mindset of painting with a broad stroke, right? They call it. May not be. Or the other aspect is the knowledge that is happening to us. How is it happening? Elders are telling us, friends are telling us, peers are telling us, this is what you should be doing. This is good for you at your age. This is what people should be doing. So all kind of information is being fed to you. News channels are telling you, right? What is most important for you? What is the breaking news? Google has its own opinion based on the crawlers, the kind of data that it has gathered. Now AI as well, social media as well. And social media can create a parallel reality for you based on what you like generally, right? The algorithms start creating that parallel reality for you once you subscribe to something. So this knowledge is happening to us all the time. So we don't even know how it is happening. It's subtle, and at the same time, it's explicit as well, right? So this is called informal, and this is limited and imperfect as well. Now let's get to the formal aspect of it. Formal aspect, you could do self-study, swadhyay, scriptural study, self-help books, and all that stuff, right? That can be helpful, but not completely, because self-study can take you only so far, because here we are talking about not static information, static knowledge, but divine knowledge, which is sentient and not, right? So then our scriptures tell us, do it under the expert guidance of a guru, but the guru should also have some qualifications. They should be Shruti and Brahmanist, scripturally well-versed and practically realized. So that is very important. Now the only, and the both basically are none, depending upon the kind of guru you get. So the point is, we spoke about knowledge, why it is important. Looked at, you may have the best of the intentions, but if your knowledge is not correct about how to proceed, which direction to proceed, or where to go, right, then this whole equation will basically not help where we are heading. Okay, so it's like you are supposed to go to Kashmir and you started walking towards Kanyakumari. That can also happen. And then Somebody comes and tells you, hey, by the way, you just need to change your direction where you're walking. Then what do? You simply change your direction. So that piece of knowledge is important, right? Otherwise, you might be running and you're thinking something is happening, but it could be completely in a different direction altogether. So that is where right knowledge is very important. And this shloka that we are going to pick up, we are going to start with the topic of knowledge only. So I will recite it and we'll pick up a few hands for this. Nahi jnanena sadrishyam pavitra vidyate tat swayam yoga sansiddhah kalinatmani vindati. Let's take a few hands.
Go ahead, Sandhya.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate tat swayam yoga sansiddhah kalenatmani vindati.
Nice, thank you. Let's take a few more hands.
Go ahead, Shyamji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Nahi jnanena sadrashyam pavitramiha vidyate tat swayam yoga sansiddha kalenatmani vindati. Radhe Radhe.
You, Radhe Radhe. All right.
Rahulji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramih vidyate tat swayam yoga sansiddha kalenatmani vindati. Radhe Radhe.
Very good. Radhe Radhe.
Go ahead, Payalji.
Radhe Payal.
राधे राधे
Radhe.
Radhe.
न हि ज्ञानेन सदृश्यम् पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति. राधे राधे.
Radhe, very nice. Thank you. Okay, let's freeze the number of hands now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 really quick and then we'll get started.
Go ahead, Lakshmiji.
How about today?
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Nahi jnanena sandrishyam pavitramiha vidyate kalenatmani vindati. Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
Lakshmiji. Okay, last 3 hands.
Go ahead, Aparnaji.
Radhe Radhe. Nahi jnanena sadrishyam pavitramiha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddhah kalenatmani vindati. Thank you, Radhe.
You.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sumeshji. Radhe Radhe.
राधे राधे नितिन जी, राधे राधे एवरीवन.
Umesh ji,
नहीं ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह
before you.
विद्यते
No, sorry, go ahead.
योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe. I think you sound familiar. So welcome back. I think you're staging a comeback after maybe
Long
a
time.
long time. Yeah, good to have you back. Radhe Radhe. Thank you. Yes, Riyaji, last but not the least, please go ahead.
Go ahead, Riyaji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
Very nice. Thank you, Riyaji. So in this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying that in this world, there is nothing as purifying as divine knowledge. So what we are reading is divine knowledge and it is purifying. So, it's good news. In fact, Lord Krishna also goes on to say, that when you read Bhagavad Gita and you are reposing your faith on the words of God, it is also considered as an intellectual sacrifice. And we know sacrifice purifies. So it's very auspicious all around, listening to this knowledge, reciting this knowledge, contemplating on this knowledge, everything is very auspicious. And he's saying nothing as purifying as divine knowledge. And the whole objective of spirituality is to purify yourself, right? So we are taking a step forward every day in that sense. One who has attained purity of mind Purity of mind is the key, right? Antakaran Shuddhi. Through prolonged practice of yoga. Yoga is opposite to bhog, where we are not catering to our senses alone. Receive such knowledge within the heart. Now, this is a very important statement. This knowledge is revealed within the heart itself, revealed. Tat prasadat param, right? By his grace, it is revealed. We don't really have to acquire it. So Swadhyaya and all that stuff is fine, but eventually it's only through his grace it is going to manifest. It's going to get revealed in your heart in due course of time. Now, due course of time is the buzzword. The due course of time could be crores of kalpas also, right? The due course of time is the key here. Now let's get started. So we're going to talk about knowledge. So Mr. Roger Bacon, what is he doing here? You might be wondering. I'll tell you what Mr. Roger Bacon is. So about 700 years ago, he was an English philosopher. He was considered by his society as a go-to person who knew everything worth knowing. Everything worth knowing. Okay, so they had a list of things which was a common belief that, okay, these are things which are worth knowing, and this is the guy who knows everything. In fact, I think I forgot the name of a guy. There was a guy who compiled a list of things that humans don't know. And he hoped that this encyclopedia of things that humans don't know will shrink over time because we will gain more knowledge. But what happened? It started expanding more and more and more, right? That is how vast the knowledge is. But anyways, coming back to Mr. Roger Bacon. Now, he was believed to be up to date with all the knowledge and science available at that time. However, in today's world, if you look at it on information technology, if we come to that, it is impossible for anybody to be well versed with complete knowledge, even in one subject. Right? It keeps on getting subtler and subtler, finer and finer, and more in-depth knowledge. When we start off with journal science, then it branches out into physics, chemistry, biology, and then when you go for super specialization, there are just tons of branches that can come out of that itself, right? Now they're talking about biophysics also, right? Not talking about it has been a branch for a while now. So anyways, so even one subject to ace that is a big deal. Now, what is going on here? Riding a tiger. Okay, so we all are riding a tiger. Okay, I don't know if it's a good news or a bad news, but we are riding a tiger. Why we are riding a tiger? Because when you ride a tiger, you only have to go faster. And if you don't go faster, if you get off it, tiger will eat you. Okay, that is how the technology works as well. I have been a very reluctant adopter of technology, and I continue to roam around with the flip phone, dumb phone that they call it, right? Even though smartphone had come, iPhone 4 had been launched for, I think, 4 or 5 years. And then when I was studying, I was forced to change my phone because, not because people used to laugh at me, but because I felt there's a need for taking videos or screenshots that are helpful while you're studying. So reluctantly I had to adopt, but now I realize that there's no option. You have to adopt to technology because there's so much of stuff otherwise you will lose out on. You don't have a choice not to be available on phone and things like that, right? So there was only so much you can do. I always used to joke around that dumb people need smartphones, smart people can go manage with dumb phones as well. But anyways, so it's like riding a tiger, technology, and because there's a convergence of technology that is happening. Okay, what is the convergence of technology? Convergence means they are all intersecting now. The first thing is the technology itself, right? The technology, as we look at it, it's coming big time. I'll give you a quick rundown on how it has evolved over a period of time. And then the second aspect of it is we have got computers now which can talk to each other through World Wide Web. That is one thing. And then you have information. There is just a load of information available at your fingertips, right? All the libraries, most of the libraries of the world, they have been digitized. So at your fingertip, everything is available. And then, of course, the communication aspect of it, right? So these technologies are converging, and which actually opens up a vast ocean of knowledge which is accessible, available to us. Then what do we do? Now let's try to put this whole thing in perspective. So if you look at it from a roadmap standpoint, in 70s, the countries, they used to be, most of the world, it was agriculture based. You go do farming, grow crops, and that is how humans would earn their livelihood. This is how it works. So this is how it used to work in about 70s. So it used to be agricultural based age, basically. right? So if you look at it in 1700s, it was an agricultural age. Then you come to 1900s, it became an industrial age. Industrial age where everything, you put a machine around everything, right? That's where Kali Yuga probably technically started. Kal means machine and machine Yuga, right? You start manufacturing things in your machines. And I think Ralph Waldo Emerson had said that if you build a better mousetrap, and the world will beat a path to your door. So everything was getting mechanical, building machines, and industrial revolution started taking place, and the whole world joined the bandwagon. India unfortunately had a license raj around that time in 70s, because they were too shy and paranoid about letting the foreign companies come in because of their experience in the past. So they missed out on that boat, right? But then finally the economy opened up, and we know Y2K and all that stuff happened in 90s. It happened, and then things just opened up. But that was an industrial age. An industrial age, you started producing goods. But when you start producing goods and then everybody picks up, then how do you differentiate yourself? It becomes commoditized over a period of time, right? It seems like an MBA lecture going on. So things started becoming normal at that moment, right? Then you have to differentiate yourself. Then marketing strategies and all those things started coming up. But let's move on quickly. In 80s, of course, after the computer revolution, it became an information age. It was like so much of information got digitized once the advent of computers happened, that it was basically the pace of transformation really accelerated, and it became an information age. But information as such is, after that, the next step right now in millennium, right now, if you look at it, it's called more of a knowledge. Turn of the millennium, it's called a knowledge age. Now, just the information, you cannot do anything with the information unless you convert it into something meaningful. And that is the era we are in right now. A person like Sabir Bhatia, you just have to walk into the immigration, and you don't have to have $1 billion. You don't need to carry that. It's all in the head. You have an idea, you're going to implement it, right? So you have an intent that I want to make it big. But intent, then they have a knowledge also. Knowledge what? The lying pieces of information they can collect, do something with it, and make that idea reality. So this is the power of knowledge that we're talking about, right? So all the brilliant ideas and concepts, you can actually, it remains a mere information unless you are able to do something with it. Okay? So that is where we are right now in the knowledge age. And this is, I'm talking about material knowledge. Now, when it comes to knowledge, of course, you need to have some experiences around it as well. Now, let's get into the scriptural aspect of it now. Our scriptures say Dvai Vidya. There is a material science, material knowledge, and then there is a spiritual knowledge. So material knowledge, you need certain kind of evidences from time to time to know that what you are doing is right or not, or a reconfirmation or affirmation around what you are doing is right or not, right? So our evidence of knowledge typically fall into three categories. What are those three categories? So far, what we have spoken about, the knowledge age that we are in, we are relying on one kind of a proof. If you have an idea, you're making it big, facts and figures will talk about it. And fact and figure is something that you can visually see. Data speaks for itself. So scriptures say, yes, there are three pramans. The first one is pratyaksh praman. You can experience it. You can see it. Your eyes are telling you, numbers, your trajectory is going up. The stock market is going up. Your share is rising. Everything is there. Even from scientific experiment standpoint, you can actually visualize, see the results, and derive inferences out of it, right? That this is working. However, there is a limitation of that. It is limited by our sensory perception. The knowledge is basically extremely clear, but its scope is very limited, right? For example, if you are going to rely on your pratyaksh praman alone, then illusion at night, if a rope falls on you and you have absolutely no visibility around it, you may construe it as a snake. Even otherwise, when you are, let's say, you are not able to hear certain sounds, right? It operates within a specific range, 20 hertz or up to 20,000 hertz, ultrasonic or ultrasonic sounds. We can't hear it. That doesn't mean they don't exist. Dogs can hear it, but they can hear it. So that means the pratyaksh praman has its limitations. We cannot know everything. There are radio waves out there. Can we see that? We cannot, but we can tap into that. So pratyaksh praman, or the direct visual evidence that we get, or sensory evidence that we get, it has its limitations. We can't completely rely on it. Better than that is called Anuman Praman, which is called inferential or derived knowledge. Here you apply logic and some kind of an inference around it. Now, the example could be that you wake up and you see light, so you know sun is there. Are you able to see it? No, because there are clouds. But the inferential logic is good enough for you to know that sun is there. It is behind cloud, but we know it is there. But it is still not perfect. Why? Because you could be seeing something like a smoke coming out, and you may think it is smoke, but it could actually be a fog. So it is, inferential logic is there, but it is still not perfect. So when we apply our intellect, deducing things, we may make mistakes there as well. The third one, our scripture says, called Shruti Praman, which is the testimonial evidence coming from a bona fide source. That is the key thing. And it comes through oral tradition. That is how Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, etc. That is basically, there's no limitation. It just comes through the oral tradition, through the bona fide source, through the realized sages. And that's why there is no scope of any doubt in that. You'll say, why there is no scope of doubt? Because that piece of knowledge stands the test of time. And proof is in the pudding. When you align to these principles, you can see the transformation happening. And it is a little bit like, not little bit, it is actually like a cooked rice. You taste a little bit of it. If it is cooked, you can safely assume rest of it is cooked as well. Okay. So there are three kinds of creation. One is called Krit, which is created by a human being. Then I think there is Smrit. Through memory, it gets passed on. And third is Vinigrit. Vedas are Vinigrit. They manifest when the creation comes about. Okay. And Shabd Praman is something which is a bona fide source, right? You can rely on that. Even in material world, we look at it, right? When we go to a restaurant, we go for Yelp and stuff like that. Okay. What are my friends and people talking about this particular place? We go for reviews. That is also testimonial evidence. We rely on that. And scriptural knowledge is more so important because it is coming, as long as it is coming from a bona fide source. That is a discussion in it is itself. How do you know it's a bona fide source or it's coming through a sage? But this is the one our scripture says the most reliable praman when it comes to acquiring scriptural knowledge. Now let's move on. So the knowledge is important because, yes, Sandhya, had a question?
So, regarding Pratyaksh Praman, it can be limited, but it won't be wrong. Is it okay to say that?
Not necessarily. For example, if you put your stick or your finger in water and you see in water, it will appear crooked, bent. But is it bent? It is not. Right? So your senses are deceiving you because law of refraction is making it seem so. Okay. So Pratyaksh Praman actually could be scratching the surface, not really knowing everything. So it is limited by our senses. Right? If you go by Pratyaksh Praman alone, there is no soul. How do you capture it? There is no stethoscope that can capture, doctor will not know the existence of a soul or any microscope that can actually help you look at, however small that is, because there's a limitation, right? So divine things cannot be perceived through your sensory perceptions alone.
So that's the limitation, but
Limitation, what I'm saying, there's a limitation, and
right.
it could be misleading as well, because there are things that are your senses are limited, right? For example, your eyes cannot capture wavelength beyond a certain range, or your ears cannot catch that. So if
So
you're
one
relying,
has to, right. Okay, so one has to say that this is what can be perceived, but this may not be the complete truth.
true, that is the right way of looking at it. But when we say only like Marxists say that I'm willing to believe in God if I can dissect him in a lab. Now, what kind of lab can hold God? Who's the upholder of this whole thing, or who's smaller than the smallest? So then you have that kind of a perspective that only if I have a direct perception of something, then only I'm willing to believe in something. That is not a very smart way of looking at it. It's like it's not perceptible. Like, do we see clarified butter in milk? We don't see that. There is a process. If you follow the process and still don't see, then you can say that. But yes, it is limited. That's what our scriptures are telling us. And there are things we can never be able to perceive through our material thing unless we get an upgrade. Soul, no matter how much science progresses, it's not going to get up to the soul level, right? Because That is where the other spirit science kicks in. The material science has its limitation and it has its place as well. And similarly, you have a spiritual science which has its place as well. So that's what we're trying to talk about here. Now, let's say there's a broken foundation and then you build a big castle on top of it, right? So we know what will happen. The foundation is shaky or broken, then it will have the cascading effect or ramifications on what you have built on top of it as well. And that is where the solid foundation is needed. A solid foundation of knowledge is needed for us to progress in not only in material world, but more so in the spiritual world as well. And both have their own places, because now let's talk about imperfect knowledge. Now let's say if a knowledge is, we are going by the knowledge which is given to us by humans, they'll have 4 defects, as scriptures say that. What are the 4 defects? Karna patva, they say because it is limited from senses or the lack of experience. Like Higgs boson is assumed to be exist on estimation. Brahm, illusion will be there because our senses are imperfect. Like mirage, body, a self, object of senses will give happiness. That is essentially we are stuck right now, right? It's caused the illusion because of the ignorance that we have. And you can get a symptomatic relief, but not the root cause thing, right? And then pramad, you will make mistakes around it as well. To err is human, people make mistakes, even in computer programs, books, dispensing medicines and stuff like that. And vipralipsa, there's a propensity to cheat as well to prove a point. Did you know that this Harvard study blamed it on fat all along? They did not talk about sugar at all, because probably there was a lobbying. They were paid for by the sugar industries to say that don't even talk about us. Okay, blame it on fat, everything. While if you speak to oncologist, sugar is the leading cause of cancer. But does anybody talk about sugar at all? No, nobody does, right? But then you can influence studies and stuff like that because you want to cheat to promote your own cause, right? So those kind of things happen when you subscribe to knowledge written by humans who are not realized saints, because they may have their vested interests, they will have their imperfections, and they will have their own filters of looking at the things around you, right? That is why even if we go for Bhagavad Gita, there are very good authors who have attempted to do that. It is good actually to get a perspective, but you are actually capping yourself with their intellectual understanding, and then they may not have gotten the true import of it because they are not realized, right? So those kind of imperfections would creep in anything that is created by a human. Okay, let's move on. So there are 2 ways of acquiring knowledge. Okay, we will talk about divine knowledge. We'll get to the divine knowledge because Lord Krishna is saying there is nothing more purifying than divine knowledge. So I'm just setting the context or tilling the ground for that. One is called ascending knowledge. I've spoken about it, which is how material knowledge goes, which is the basis of modern science. As you keep on breaking the frontiers of knowledge, you acquire more understanding about it. Knowledge is built over time, incrementally, right? You build it over time. Older theories, they keep on getting substituted with the newer ones. And it is a limited knowledge. Direct perception alone doesn't provide answers to afflictions ailing humans since time eternity. Can they teach you how to become happy, satisfied, how to remove the imperfections of your mind? How to no, nobody can teach you that. Okay, so this is where the limitations of material science starts coming in. When it comes to the fulfillment, happiness, how do we lead that life? What do we need to do on a day-to-day basis? Material science is highly inadequate in that sense. You can have a self-help books from Amazon and stuff, but may give you a symptomatic relief for a while, but it cannot hit the root cause. It doesn't have that ability, and that's where the spiritual science comes in. The difference with spiritual science, now, if you look at it, I quoted Albert Einstein on the material science side. He said, the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. That is a realization from Albert Einstein. Even Newton had said that while I was playing with the pebbles on the shore, there lied an entire ocean yet unexplored. So when you reach the zenith or the pinnacle of your material understanding about something, you get that humility that there's so much to be known, and it's only a magician who can orchestrate so many things that are happening here. I think Einstein had said there are only 2 ways of looking at this world. Everything is a miracle or nothing is. And Newton also, I think, when he was dabbling with all these theories and laws of motion and stuff like that, I think one of his friend was mocking, this concept of God and all. And he said, all right, give me some time and you come after a while. And in the meantime, what he did was he created a small model where he put a sun at the center and created a planetary system and set it into motion, right? And when his friend came and he said, "Oh, who created this?" He said, "Nobody." There was a bang that happened, boom, and it all fell in place. He said, "Are you kidding?" He said, "That's exactly what I'm telling you. This whole thing, perfect creation with perfect velocity, mass, spin, the distance, and everything, it cannot be a result of an explosion. Explosion creates destruction, not putting things such perfectly." Okay. So scientists also have, when they reach the peak of their discoveries or inventions, they also get that humility or understanding that there is something big that is unknown to them at this point. So that is where the descending knowledge comes into picture, where it's based on the scriptural knowledge. It is top down. This one is bottom up because you are gaining more and more understanding about these concepts. This one is top down. It is reiterated by multiple saints. Time-tested principles. You don't change it. There are no revisions that, hey, today it is this, today atom is indivisible, tomorrow neutron protons are there, they are indivisible, then quarks come, and then particle wave theory, okay, everything can behave interchangeably. Nothing of those kind of revisions. Once said, always maintained. And it's a perfect knowledge. It presents a manual for human life. And that is the beauty of it. And then Ishavasyam idam sarvam, world is a veritable form of God, as scriptures tell us. So this is the knowledge, the divine knowledge that Lord Krishna is talking about. He's not talking about material knowledge here. But even materially also, if we have to succeed, whichever profession we are in, we have to get good knowledge about it. And only when we get knowledge do we excel in that particular thing. If we don't have knowledge, we are always playing a catch-up game. So knowledge is important. How much knowledge do we need? That baseline you can set depending upon the profession you are in, depending upon the job expectations or the expectation of people that whom you are working with, right? And that we can calibrate accordingly, but knowledge is needed. If you don't have subject matter expertise in what we do, then anxiety and all that stuff will continue in your head, right? So knowledge is important, both in material world as well as in spiritual world. And what Lord Krishna is talking about, there is nothing more purifying than divine knowledge, which is what we are discussing right now. And we do discuss that on a daily basis, Bhagavad Gita. Okay, with that said, we will continue on this topic of knowledge. So basically this knowledge that we're talking about, Lord Krishna is saying it has a power. It has a power to purify, elevate, liberate, and unite a person with God. It is supremely sublime and pure. Okay, then there are two knowledges. We'll continue on this discussion. There's a theoretical information and a practical realization, and that gap is huge. And that is a constant battle or a constant challenge we all need to surmount. How do we bridge the gap between the knowledge and the wisdom part of it? Eventually, it will get revealed in the heart. But then does it mean that we have to wait for that? No, we have to do something and try to implement it to the best of our abilities and see where it takes us, right? And finally, it's only through His grace He's going to reveal the deeper secrets of that knowledge that we are talking about. It's a very, very deep knowledge, and we can never understand one shloka in its entirety or its entire depth because it's sentient. But with God's grace, whatever is needed for us, He'll keep on providing. The key is to keep on putting our own effort as best as possible, and then finally wait for His grace so that all the loose ends or the missing pieces they fall in place as well. With that, I'll take a quick pause. I know I've been speaking a lot. Any questions on what we have spoken today? Tomorrow we'll continue on this topic and peel some more layers on the shloka. Yes, Shri Ramya.
Radhe Radhe, I had a question regarding the discussion and the shloka. So the shloka said that after many years of practice of yoga, God will impart the divine knowledge. Right. So
Yes, he simply says in due course of time.
yeah, but to practice yoga also I need knowledge. So isn't it a deadlock?
Okay, chicken and egg situation, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so God says that, okay, whatever little piece of knowledge you have understood, try implementing it. And then you'll get more, and then you'll get more, and then you'll get more, right? You keep implementing it. So whatever, you don't have to know the entire set of knowledge before you can start. You just need to know a little bit. and start implementing it. And then the due course of time, the next piece of knowledge that is needed for you will be provided to you. It will automatically become clear, right? It's like you don't wait for all the signals to turn green before you step out of your house. You go to the first signal and then the next, and it will just unfold like that. It's like a girl walking with a lantern in the middle of a night where she has to go 2 miles, but all she can see is 20 feet through that lantern. So will she say, no, I can't do anything? No, she'll go 20 feet, and then when she reaches 20 feet, another 20 feet, and then another 20 feet, and that's how the journey gets completed. So one way people get stuck is from doubt to doubt. They get stuck from doubt to doubt. Okay, this doubt has come, this doubt has come. The actual recommended way in the path of spirituality is go from understanding to understanding. You understood something, give it your best shot, and then see how it unfolds. So this is how it's meant to be. We'll not get all the perfect knowledge right from day one.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Shreya, hope that helped a little bit.
Nitinji, I think Lakshmiji had asked for the previous slide. If you can go, the first slide, soul soup.
Previous to this one or previous to
Yes,
the
to
one?
this one. To
Okay.
this one.
Okay, by the way, do we have today somebody talking about Gita Jayanti as well? Monika ji, is it you today? Somebody's going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's
Who
put
did
you on.
Lakshmiji?
Yeah,
Yes, Lakshmi ji.
Radhe. Nitinji, would you explain the pramans again? Pratyaksh praman and Anuman praman.
Pratyaksh Praman is directly that you are seeing. Right? Pratyaksh means direct perception. Yeah, through your eyes or through your senses. Anuman means you're inferring it. You're not directly seeing it, but you know this is the case, right? Like, for example, I spoke that, okay, sun is not out there, it is behind the clouds, but you know sun is come out. Yeah, so Anuman means it is inferential logic. You infer through something that if this is happening, then that means this is also happening.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Radhe Radhe.
So the testimonial evidence is the strongest, right? So if somebody says, I need a proof, right? This is also an example I've heard, in discourses. If somebody says, I need a proof of who my dad is, and you go around conducting paternity tests, how many billions of tests you would do? It can take your entire lifetime. Smart strategies, ask your mom, right? So that is the power of the testimonial evidence, because it's coming from a bona fide source. Otherwise, you can keep on spending your entire life if you are very hung up in getting proofs and everything, and there also we rely on that, right? So this is how it's explained as well. Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to ask?
Again, like along the lines of what Lakshmi ji was discussing. So if someone is observing something through an instrument, but then instrument is operated using our senses, that's also under the praman, the pratyaksh praman, right?
Or see, material instruments, it could be pratyaksh praman, it could be inferential also, right? You are deciphering, you saw some movement, and you said that, yes, there was a particle because I saw some movement, and if you apply the motion's laws of motion, you can prove that there was something there, 2 minutes back. Now that you're seeing it there in motion at a particular speed. So it could be inferential also.
So, okay. So we cannot classify it as such, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, depending upon the kind of experiment you are conducting and seeing, right? Through observation, there are a lot of inferences we draw as well, right? It may not be directly perceptible, but you have a reason to believe this is how it is. So, yeah.
Nitinji, can you show the pyramid slide, ascending and descending one, please?
Sure. I myself forgot where it was meant to be. Okay. Yes. I hope you liked riding a tiger. Ascending and descending, right? You said?
Yes.
Okay. There you
go. Okay. Keshavji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Shivji.
राधे राधे. प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण पे एक मेरे को स्टोरी याद आई. About 40 years ago, my dad narrated to me. एक फौजी बॉर्डर से आया आफ्टर 1 year, और उस समय मतलब पुरानी बात उन्होंने सुनाई थी, मे बी 100 years ago की बात हो, कि उसकी लड़के की माँ नहा रही थी, और आजकल तो बाथरूम बहुत ताले और चाबियां लगी होती हैं, वो तो ओपन में होता था, कर्टन सा लटका होता था। तो एक आदमी उसके अंदर पीप इन कर रहा था, झांक रहा था, और फौजी गन लेके आया था, उसने बंदूक तानी और घोड़ा दबाने लगा बंदूक का। तो माँ को पता, उसने चलाया कि हेल्प मी माँ, मैं तुम्हारी हेल्प कर रहा हूँ। तो माँ ने कहा बेटा गोली मत चलाइयो। वाई? क्योंकि वो जो शावर जब ले रही थी तो अंदर उसको एक सांप नजर आया, तो वो चिल्लाई हेल्प के लिए। तो वो लड़का जा रहा था, वो हेल्प कर रहा था उसकी। तो
Okay.
प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण तो है कि वो झांक रहा है उसमें, लेकिन वो गलत था।
No,
इसलिए
that's
जल्दी नहीं सोचना चाहिए कि दिख रहा है वो भी ठीक हो, ऐसा कभी भी नहीं होता। राधे राधे।
interesting story. Thank you for sharing that, Keshav ji. Yes, Pratyaksh Praman could be misleading as well, right? Because you don't know the context under which that is happening. So just by your visual, sometimes we judge people, sometimes we form opinions about them, right? So all that is because of our Pratyaksh, what we are seeing, but there could be a big picture around that thing, which we might be losing the context around, completely losing the context around it, right? That's a nice story. Thank you for sharing that, Keshav ji.
One more slide request. The tiger, riding a tiger slide, please.
Right. I'm doing my 10,000 steps through typing today. Tiger, where's the tiger? Okay, I'm glad you asked for it. Okay, I just liked this slide. No, this picture rather, I should say, not the slide. Forget about it.
Go ahead, Sandhya.
And just again follow up. So the story that Keshavji said, I think that's a combination of Pratyaksha and Anuman, because he saw something, but then he inferred something out of that, and that was the wrong as part of it, according to me.
Yes, that's true. We have to make some kind of an opinion and judgment about that situation, right? So inference would automatically come. True. Any other questions? Who's giving, anybody giving a test, Gita Jayanti testimonial as well today? Are you ready? We have Gita. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. But any questions in the meantime, chat or otherwise?
And not in the chat as of now, maybe.
All
Yeah.
right.
Shyamji has something to.
Shyamji?
You said that the knowledge will be revealed to us. So how do one comes to know that it will be revealed to us? Is it we get more wiser? It's God's grace, or get change? What do we know? How do we know?
It's like you just know it. Okay, you don't need a proof. You just know it. It's like when you are hungry and you are full, you just know it. How can you explain I was hungry? How much hungry? Now I'm full. How much full? You can try to articulate it, but it's like you know it. That knowledge has become your experience or your realization automatically, and that comes from God's grace only. And that question has resolved. That not वो नॉट होती है ना, खुल गई आपके माइंड में, और वो
So we
permanent.
will know it
Which
by
one?
God's grace. We will know it by God's grace that we are there now,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah, so you will know that. I mean, you will move forward. Of course, it's a journey, but you will know. You don't need any more proofs or discussions around that topic. You just know it's a fact. That's it. And how do you know that? That automatically comes. That is where God does his, turning the key inside you. So
Okay, got it. Yeah.
yeah, you don't
Thank you
need
so
any
much.
proofs or any discussion at that point. It's like it is. I know that. Okay. That kind of realization would come. And that can happen only through God's grace.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. All right, so let's with Gita Jayanti. By the way, I first want to thank everybody who have been volunteering for Gita Jayanti service. We have multiple services, writing seva. So thank you, Avaji, for that wonderful write. I'm yet to review that and get back to you on that. Then Komalji and a lot of people, they have actually done the the video timestamps of Bhagavad Gita lectures from Swamiji and Maharajji, and then testimonials. A lot of you have actually given your testimonials, 10-second ones. So that is also very nice. So I just want to thank each one of you for, and I think Pratyusha started doing some editing as well. So I came to know that your left brain is super developed. So we are very excited to work with you, Pratyusha. Um, I don't know how somebody figured it out, but looks like your creative angle is pretty there. So that's very exciting. So thank you, everybody. And then if you want to continue doing that, keep writing to us, and we'll find more opportunities around it. So thanks to all of you. And we'll have a significant contribution from Daily Wisdom of Bhagavad Gita team for the Gita Jayanti that is coming up. So that is pretty outstanding. Yes. All yours, Monica ji. And today you're going to talk about Gita Jayanti. What does Gita mean for you and how it has changed, transformed your life? So go ahead. We are all ears.
Radhe Radhe. I think many of us has witnessed my journey from what I was to what I am now, right now. And Nitinji, I did give my 10 seconds testimonial yesterday, so I'll just elaborate it a bit. That the hardest part in faith is not just believing, because anybody who has doubt but believes also is a believer. But the hardest part is actually in surrendering. And Bhagavad Gita has been the catalyst for me, which actually just made me surrender 100%. And I'm sure I've spoken a lot about it before also. But then there was a time when I was into Gyan Marg of Sadhguru. And thanks to him, because he's doing a wonderful job. I always keep saying that, he brings in logical people into a spiritual fold. But then after that, where do you go? Right? You're stuck there. And there was a point where, I used to think that I know a lot, and I used to give, I used to lecture people on, ये ऐसे होता है, ऐसे पता है क्यों होता है, वैसे क्यों होता है. But then I realized when I started attending Bhagavad Gita sessions, then I realized that I actually knew nothing. I mean, nothing, as in nothing at all, because there are so many margs. There's so many paths, right? How would you actually find out which one is for you? Because you forget about God, you don't know yourself also. So once that clarity and understanding started coming in, flowing in, all I had to do was be receptive and then understand it, connect the dots of what I knew. And then it just happened. So there was a day, I think, during Diwali Mahotsav, where few of us were privileged to share the dinner table with Swamiji. And then he happened to ask, Monica, how old are you? So I couldn't get the question. But then I was contemplating that obviously now it's not about that, I have to hide my age or whatever. But then he meant, how old are you spiritually? So then I told him that actual connect happened in the family camp with Swamiji. And after that, I never looked back. And then Swamiji also mentioned that, sabki bhook hoti hai. It's not that somebody who's there in this path for since like 5 years or 10 years or whatever might not reach for, compared to somebody who's just started. So bhook hoti hai, right? So if you're seeking and not questioning, Bhagavad Gita has all the answers. And that hasn't worked for me completely. So, which is why whenever I meet my friends, and then most of us are actually, having the same kind of jobs and same kind of life, same kind of tensions, right? Ha 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 moment to like anniversary and stuff like that. So all the answers are like right here. So I sort of encourage them to, ek hafta attend karo, just 1 week, and you will know. And most of us, whoever started this journey, has been like, stuck with Nitinji and this Bhagavad Gita session. So this has, I think, I don't need anything now. This has clarified everything for me. I mean, even if like how you mentioned today, Nitinji, that scriptures are vast and the knowledge is vast, and then how much will you grasp as a human being, right? We are not like somebody like Swamiji who sort of knows it all, Maharaji who sort of knows it all. But then whatever I know now is more than enough for me to just surrender. So in every situation, just surrender. Even if I couldn't make to India trip, surrendered. All surrender. Yeah, so that's what Bhagavad Gita has done for me. Thank you.
Thank you from a very candid and straight from heart testimonial. Yes, I think you've come a long way. I remember when we started to have that discussion. So in that sense, you've come a long way doing seva, and just dovetailed your enthusiasm towards this path, which is pretty amazing, right? So you had already a sharpened axe. Now you have started cutting the real wood. So which is pretty amazing. So that's very nice and very good to hear. And I think it's a fascinating journey we are all on. And like I always say that it's only with God's grace and Guru's grace that we have gotten this platform. It doesn't happen so easily, where you get to discuss the words of God every day contemplate upon it, think about it, talk about it, such an enriching experience with such a amazing group of participants that we have. So we're very fortunate. And each one of you, I think, will have their own story around it. But yes, this knowledge is so empowering, so powerful that once you build a hook, there's no looking back. It's like, what were we doing? I wonder sometimes, you don't want to go back to the life in ignorance in that sense. But thank you for sharing that. And only the journey will only get better from here on. So
Just want to add one more thing, Nitinji. Bhagavad Gita has also, I mean, I know it's not 100% yet, but the ahankar part of it, right? That it has taken I out of me.
Sure.
Now it's the soul. I mean, I'm sure that there could be something left still, and I'm working towards it. But then the I has sort of gone. And Animaji is messaging me on the side that Monica 100% surrender se na Bhagavad Prapti ho jati hai. So, and then the hearts and all that I know, and which is why the journey, because ultimately it's all about surrender. How soon or how late you surrender. The day you surrender, like you said, Nitinji, not even 1 second, or Bhagavad Prapti ho jati hai, right? So focus, what's your focus?
But yeah, we are all work in progress. And then good thing is at least we are approaching it with the right set of knowledge and we have the right tools. And now it's just about how much we want to accelerate it. That's our own appetite, right, around it. And the humility, of course, the fact that how less we know, that automatically is a consequence as you progress on this path, right? There's a story where the guy goes to his guru and says, can you please give me spiritual experience? He said, sure. So he said, how do I get it? He said, go out, look at the heavens and start crying out. He said, okay, will I get a spiritual experience? He said, sure, you will get it. And he starts going out and starts crying to heaven for his grace and some spiritual experience and keeps on doing it until the clouds come and it starts pouring. And it starts pouring really high. He's all drenched and soaked up. And then he comes inside to his guru, right? Totally soaked. He said, you asked me to do that. I was hoping for a spiritual experience and here I am. He said, how are you feeling right now? He said, right now I'm feeling like a complete fool. He said, this is your first spiritual experience, okay? So when you think we don't know anything, it's a good thing. Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to add something?
I actually wanted to thank Monica Di for bringing one thing up, which I wanted to remind everyone again about was family camp, right? Even yesterday, I think Aparna ji said that what is pure sattvic food she got to see in family camp. Monica Di said she got transformed or her spiritual rebirth happened during family camp. The connect happened with Swamiji, right? So yes, family camp is coming up. Registration link will be shared with you and it is on 50% discount right now, as Nitinji very nicely said. If 2 people register, it's 100% discount. So yes, that's what I wanted to bring up. Yeah.
See, if you enjoy the sessions, it's like an ibuprofen or Tylenol. What you get in family camp is an injection, okay, fast track. So please make it a priority it's a spiritual injection, you get it. Family camp or retreats, that's a very, very different experience altogether. I mean, you only have to be there to experience it. So yes, do look at that. What else? Do we have anything else we can talk about?
We have Gita Jayanti celebrations coming up 15th, 16th, and 17th of December, as well as 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
Very nice. Thank you. And anybody else, if you want to talk about Gita Jayanti, we're having this series leading up to the Gita Jayanti. Please put your name in the feedback tracker and we will relish or look forward to hearing that video soundbite from you as well on that. We'll make a series. I already see Komalji saying, yes, I will do. Pratyusha said, yes, I'll do that as well. Please do. Okay, great. So any other questions? We'll continue on this topic. We will get into the divine knowledge and what Lord Krishna is talking about tomorrow. I think tomorrow we'll probably be able to wrap this up. And then this Thursday, I don't know, you can probably put it in feedback tracker if you want to have, I'll be traveling, but I'm telling our quiz masters you can run a quiz. But if you want to have a break, maybe we can, then we'll resume on our Monday because I'll be traveling to India for a quick short visit. But I'm hoping to do sessions as best as I can. So I'll keep you posted on that. Quiz, if you're interested, do let me know. Otherwise, we could call it off and you can have a little bit of an extended break on Thursday as well. Any other questions? No? Pin drop silence. I heard a pin drop, and then somebody's going to raise hand, and then 2-3 hands will come. No, not today. Okay, so what other thing I'm thinking is inspired by the other session that was launched, Spiritual Secrets from Hinduism. We will cover Radha Govind Geet. Okay, and we'll give opportunity to everybody. It is loaded with Tattva Gyan. At the same time, it gives us an opportunity to chant as well. So we'll pick up a verse. We'll have a few people who have already expressed their interest to, sing it. Not the entire one. It's a pretty huge, maybe a couple of lines we'll pick. 2-3 people who can chant and go through its meaning. We can relish that as part of our third segment. So maybe next week or in a few days' time, we'll start doing that but today, if anybody wants to chant, we are all game. Because we didn't have it yesterday, we could do that today for a few minutes and then wrap it up. Unless, of course, you have a question. Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to go? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, just few lines.
Sure.
Okay. ठाकुर युगल किशोर हमारो, जाकर हम पिया प्यारी के। ठाकुर युगल किशोर हमारो, जाकर हम पिया प्यारी के। गुरु सेवा ही धर्म हमारो, दास न हम श्रुति चारी के। गुरु सेवा ही धर्म हमारो, दास न हम श्रुति चारी के। ठाकुर युगल किशोर हमारो, जाकर हम पिया प्यारी के। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। Done.
Nice. It's a beautiful bhajan and very soulfully, beautifully sung. Thank you, Sandhya. Do we have any more hands today? Well, I could recite maybe a couple of lines and then we can wrap it up. Anybody else not interested? Nobody? Yeah, Monica ji, you want to sing? Keshav ji wants to sing today. Yes, Keshav ji. Rahul is going to sing. Yes, Keshav ji.
I'm neither a singer, not a speaker, not a teacher. I'm just a student, शिष्य। तो एक वो बहुत पुराना भजन है। बड़ी देर भई नंद लाला, तेरी राहत के ब्रिज बाला। ओ बड़ी देर भई नंद लाला, तेरी राहत के ब्रिज बाला। अब ये बदल गया, अब क्या हो गया? अब बड़ी देर भई ब्रज बाला, तेरी राहत के नंद लाला। ओ बड़ी देर भई ब्रज बाला, तेरी राहत के नंद लाला। जय श्री कृष्ण, राधे राधे।
So nice, very nice, Keshav ji. You sing well. You should try more often. I loved it. Very nicely done. With your details and with the, thank you so much, Keshav ji. And you made your debut, so you unanimously get the best debut award because there's nobody else who's debuting today. So thank you very much for that. Divya Mahendru ji, I see your message. Please fill out the feedback tracker. I'll be in touch with you because Divya ji has expressed her desire to help out with some seva. So that is so nice of you. Please fill out the feedback tracker and I'll get in touch with you. Monica ji is saying we are all here to walk each other home. That is a great one. So thank you. Okay, so go ahead, Rahul, and then Pratyusha, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead, Rahul.
Radhe Radhe. I have a couple of verses from Radha Govind Gita, but wanted to share the screen. It is about Ashtma Sakhis, what they do there.
Yes, you can
Seva.
share the screen, and sharing is caring. So please go ahead.
You have the access now. Yep.
And then 2 lines I'll also sing. Okay, you have to sit back and hear me today. I'll not take much time. Okay, go ahead, Rahul.
Is it visible now, the screen?
Yes.
Probably, yes.
Yes.
Radhe Radhe Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe Ashtma Sakhi Kaun Radhe आठों के नाम अरु काम बता दे एक सखी ललिता है गोविंद राधे श्यामा श्याम को पान बीरी खिला दे एक है विशाखा सखी गोविंद राधे रंग बिरंगे वसंत पिन्हा दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद राधे Radhe Radhe. Cover 2 Sakhis, probably can continue and then cover 2 Sakhis more so that total 8 Sakhis can be covered. Radhe Radhe.
Today, go through the verse and devour the nectar of the Tattva Gyan plus the devotional ras that Maharaj Ji has, poured into some of these compositions. Yes, Pratyusha, go ahead.
So it's a movie song. Bada Natkhat.
Okay. Sure, go ahead.
बड़ा नटखट है रे कृष्ण कन्हैया सागर यशोदा मैया ओ बड़ा नटखट है रे ढूंढे रे अखियाँ उसे चाहो जाने कहाँ छुप गया नंद किशोर ढूंढे रे अखियाँ उसे चाहो जाने कहाँ छुप गया नंद किशोर उड़ गया ऐसे जैसे पुरवैया आकर यशोदा मैया हो बड़ा नटखट है रे आ तो ही मैं गले से लगा लूं लगे न किसी की नजर मन में छुपा लूं आ तो ही मैं गले से लगा लूं लगे न किसी की नजर मन में छुपा लूं धूप जगत है रे ममता है छैया जाकर यशोदा मैया हो बड़ा नटखट है रे मेरे जीवन का तुम एक ही है सपना जो कोई देखे तुझे समझे वो अपना मेरे जीवन का तुम एक ही है सपना जो कोई देखे तो से समझे वो अपना सबका है प्यारा बंसी बजे क्या करे यशोदा मैया मैया रे करे यशोदा मैया बड़ा नटखट है रे.
Pratyusha, awesome. Reminded me of Lata Mangeshkar only. You sang it in so much of lay. Very nice. And see, without without any instrument, it's very difficult, but it was very beautifully sung. Loved it. And that is one of the songs you can.
I have this.
Very nice. Oh, yeah, this. That is true. See, just imagine. Maharaji says that, see, we get attached to so many things, right? Kids are generally so adorable. To get attached to kids, pets is very easy. Kids, when they grow up, they start retorting back. Then, pets, they don't even do that. It's even more. But you think of it, when Krishna came, he came with the express purpose of giving Vatsalya, bliss to Yashoda Maiya. So he's come for that purpose. So you can't even imagine, what Yashoda Maiya would be getting out of that experience, because he came for that purpose only. And that is why Brahmaji, when he sees Krishna, he says, "Oh my God, this is Purna Purushottam Brahma, who does not care to enter the trance, and nobody can catch him. And he's the one that Yashoda Maiya is, embracing and sleeping. And every day he would do the same." And see, when God basically calls, that if God picks up somebody or craves for somebody, then you crave for God, and God doesn't care, right, until you are eligible for it. And in this case, the reverse is happening, right? He's actually throwing tantrums to Yashoda Maiya that pick me up. How do you not pick me up? So Brahmaji got confused, whether the avatar is this lady or this little boy. But then he came to know he's come in a male form. So he said, "Oh, must be this little boy." He got confused because he's throwing tantrums and saying, "Pick me up." And Yashoda Maiya is saying, "Go. I have so many house chores to take care of." So, I mean, those are the kind of leelas you can actually enjoy, Maharaji. But you can imagine what kind of bliss Krishna would have given Yashoda Maiya, during his avatar kal. Yes, Monica ji, you can go next. Maybe one more hand and then we'll wrap up.
Nitin ji, I didn't want to sing. I just wanted to thank Rahul ji to bring that up, Ashtasaham Mahasakhi wala. It's like, dedicated sevas to every sakhi. So I just wanted to reiterate that whoever is into seva, if we are able, and I'm fingers crossed, if you're able to make to Golok, then wahan bhi bahut sari sevas milengi. So start practicing now.
Seva is an ongoing thing for sure. Yep.
Yes. And beautifully sung, Pratisha ji. Very nice.
Yeah, after Pratyusha ji is beautiful, it's like very nice. Very good. Okay, so I think we can wrap up our session today. Again, a beautiful session. We'll continue on our discussion tomorrow on this topic. And tomorrow we'll have a hard stop at 10, so we'll not be able to go do that. But we will be starting with our Radha Govind Geet very soon on this segment. But thank you again for all
You
of you.
wanted to sing, Nitinji. Tomorrow we will not have time.
Oh,
So
okay. You want, okay, let me sing then a couple of lines. After Pratyusha ji, I was like, once you have had dessert, why would you want to, something else? But anyways, I'll sing a couple of lines. Okay. मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब सब काम हो रहा है। मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है। करते हो तुम कन्हैया, मेरा नाम हो रहा है। मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे. All right. that's the reality of all these sessions. Trust me, I don't know how they get managed every day, but they just work out. Okay, so if it's happening for 3 years, I'm sure if you can add few more years, right, without any issues whatsoever. But thank you again for all of you.
December 24th, 2020, we had our intro class.
Oh, you remember that? We are nearing that date, right? You know what? I thought we will do the 1,000-day completion this time around. Okay, we'll plan for it like we did our 2nd anniversary. We'll do 3rd anniversary, but we'll do 1,000-day celebration as well. It's kind of a deal, right? By the way, Amrita Vaniji has been there right from day one with me. Shyamji here. Shyamji is there. Samji is there. I know all these people, they have been like right from the word go. And these are the only faces I got to see, when I started, at least for the first 2 years. Yes, Shyamji, you wanted to add something?
Nitin bhai, yes, 3 साल हो गए हैं, and I joined this because of JK. Then I was glued to this because of Amritavan ji and you. मतलब इतना मजा आया था.
Amrita
I
Vaniji, I think
always
now
tell.
I did my name just like that. Okay, people used to come to see her smile, not for the, that was a byproduct of,
True that. मैंने कहा एटलीस्ट मजा आएगा. As I always say कि मेरे को था कि 4-6 महीने की बात है, उसके बाद कौन तुम कौन मैं. बट 3 साल हो गए, लगता नहीं कि इट्स बीन 3 years, जैसे कल की बात है. एंड ट्रस्ट यू मी, आई एम देयर फ्रॉम डे वन, एंड आई एम सो ग्लू टू इट ना. मेरे घर वाले मुझे बोलते हैं कि कोई और तो काम नहीं सुबह, बट कम व्हाट मे एवर, आई मेक श्योर आई एम हियर. और 3 साल नितिन भाई, आई कांट एक्सप्लेन कि कैसे कैसे बीत गए, कहाँ चले गए. इट्स रियली मतलब बोलना नहीं आता. और ये गीता की बात हम जब कर रहे थे, एज मोनिका सेड कि आई निकल गया है. मोनिका हैज 1 आई, नितिन जी हैज 2 आई. बस आई नहीं है, देखिए मेरे नाम में तो आता. सो आई तो आप भूल जाओ ना, इसमें कभी आएगा ही नहीं. आई तो इट विल जस्ट गो अवे, गो ऑफ. और गीता की बात क्या करें, मतलब गीता तो इज बाय डिफॉल्ट इन अवर लाइफ. आई ट्राइड वंस, एंड अब तो मतलब इट्स, आई विल नॉट से पार्ट ऑफ माय लाइफ. गीता इज लाइफ. मतलब इट्स जस्ट वंडरफुल टू बी हियर.
का
3
टेस्टिमोनियल
साल
ले लो,
3 साल
इसका टेस्टिमोनियल जरूर ले लो गीता के लिए. ओके, गीता
मतलब इट्स जस्ट टू बी हियर इज लाइक एंड ट्रस्ट मी, द फर्स्ट डे ऑफ आवर लाइफ स्टार्ट विद गीता. आपका एंड तक गीता से, हमारा शुरू गीता से. सो गीता इज स्टार्टिंग गीता, एंडिंग गीता. बीच में तो बस इट्स लाइफ कमिंग एंड गोइंग. अदरवाइज जस्ट दैट्स इट. मतलब मैं क्या बोलूं, नथिंग. राधे राधे.
आपकी commitment, I know Shyam bhai is so committed, and I could, not only you show up on the session, but when I met him in person Delhi last time when I went there, and he was a wonderful host, by the way. I still remember all the puris and good food that he served. I could see, his sister, Naina ji, everybody is like, he does everything and he keeps sitting. Like now we are sitting, right? They must be complaining. And I was worrying they're going to kidnap me and not let me go back. But they're saying, at least finish your sessions on time. Now we are getting better at it, right? So we'll finish it on time, because they had complaints, because he attends the session and then he continues for as long as you continue. But we are getting better at that. But thank you, Shyamji. You have been, it's like a wonderful.
It's life nowadays. It is life now. मतलब इसके बिना जिंदगी नहीं है. सबसे बोलूंगा ये कि जो भी आज जुड़ा हुआ है, साथ लगा रहे, मतलब आप पहुंच जाओगे. एंड सरेंडर इज द की. मतलब आप छोड़ दो एंड यू विल जस्ट सी थिंग्स फॉल इन प्लेस. दैट्स इट.
Fall in place. Very true. Great. So thank you again for a very wonderful session and engaging discussion like we have so often. And I'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have 2 more sessions and we'll have a little bit of a break. I'll let you know how the schedule works from India. Mostly we'll have the sessions on, but there may be breaks here and there in between. So thank you so much. Radhe Radhe. Good night. Good day. Thank you again from my side. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Nitinji.
Thank you.